welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do another sit down and talk to you because why not? And today I'm going to talk about something that may or may not interest you, but it's all the different career paths I've wanted to take. So it may come as a surprise to you that I wasn't birthed out of my mother and the first thing I said was I want to own a comic shop. As cool and as dreamy as my job is, it's not what I always wanted. I wanted to be many things. Like a teacher. When I was a kid, I always knew what I wanted to be. I had my entire life planned out for me and I was really good at school. I loved school. I always said I was going to be a teacher and write at home, and part-time I'd become an author and then I'd retire and be an author. And this is like when I was 8. I had my life planned out. It didn't go that way. By the time I joined high school, I fell in love with drama. I used to love English, so I was going to be an English teacher. So when I was a kid, I loved English. Now I'm in high school, I love drama. A teenage girl that loves drama. Who'd have thought? But yes, so then I was going to be an actor. A thespian, if you will. So yes, I wanted to be an actress. I loved acting. I'll always remember in this induction evening when I was in 6th form, we were doing the drama part of it and we all had to wear these masks and get kids and their parents to come out. And teenagers, being self-conscious, didn't want to go out and grab these kids. So I just put on the mask and went straight out there. I never really got self-conscious as a teenager. This is something that happened much later on in my life. And I was fine with it, especially when I was in drama, because I was performing. There was nothing to be embarrassed about. And I went out and I remember going to the kids, we'll get detention if you don't come in, and the parents were laughing. And I remember a teacher came up to me. She wasn't even my teacher, and she said, "You're so good with people." And this sounds so upsetting because I always had good teachers. I didn't have a bad schooling history. I had good teachers who cared for me. But I remember in high school, this was the first compliment any teacher had given me, and I was in 6th form. I struggled in school when I was in 6th form because I used to truant a lot for a lot of reasons, and it meant a lot to me that people noticed me, and they noticed a good part about me, not just that, oh, that's Lucy, she's never in. And it meant so much to me, and I remember thinking, this is what I want, this is what people notice me for, and I wanted to be an actress. Then I discovered how hard it would be to be an actress. I wasn't the skinniest of children. In fact, we could say chubby or curvy. I'd always flitted in between my weights, and I knew it'd be hard to realistically become an actress with how I looked. I was very plain looking. I didn't know how to dress myself. I didn't know how to wear makeup or hair, and I was a curvy kid. Realistically, even if you are stunning, beautiful, thin, super talented, that's half of getting in, you know? And so I instantly went, well, I love movies. I've always loved movies. I'll become a movie critic. That way I won't be in the film, I'll just judge it instead. And I loved it. This is when we just got the internet. I was 17 and we just got the internet at home, and I made my first website, and it was TorAthena Talks, I think it was. TorAthena Tour Talks or something like that. And it was me writing reviews about old films because I couldn't afford to go to the cinema, or I wouldn't go on my own to watch these new ones. So I started reviewing old films and reading how to review them, which just made me fall in love with films even more, because I started to appreciate and love them even more than I did when I just loved watching films. I then also discovered I'm not a very good writer. For someone who wanted to be an author and a film critic, I was reading all these other reviews thinking, how do they even know these words? I used to think they were showing off. This is just writing masturbation. They just get off on showing how big their vocabulary is, you know? It's not needed, but apparently it is because they all do it. So I was like, crap. There's my dream job of being a food critic out the way. Yes, I wanted to be a chef. I love cooking, I love food, but I knew I wouldn't be able to make it in the kitchen. So instead of making it in the kitchen, I'd write about it instead. You're seeing a pattern here, right? Yeah. So there we go. My critic dreams are out the window. No more critics. No more criticizing. No more criticizing anyone. Can't do it, can't hack it, can't do it. So I got a job in game. I loved it. I loved it, I really did. I loved my job. I loved the people I worked with. The thing I loved the most was helping people. I know that sounds weird because I could just work for a charity if I wanted to truly help people. but I loved someone coming to me, asking me a question, and I could answer it for them. I loved genuine, frantic mothers coming into game, panicking that they were going to ruin their son's or daughter's birthday, and I made it better for them. Or they didn't know how to turn a Wii on, you know? And I'm not going to be subtle about it. I was really good at my job. Not at first. I remember once coming home in tears to my dad, like 2 weeks in, going, I don't know how they can do it. I don't know how they can remember the games or the prices or how to do anything. And I was rubbish. And one day it all clicked and I was just very dedicated to my job. And I nagged my way into a promotion and I became a senior assistant so I could run the shop. I was like the lowest level of management with no extra pay. I loved it and I loved this, and that was it. I wanted to be a manager. Then I realized how rubbish, the nicest word, rubbish, retail is. It's awful. It's a horrible, horrible job. And since working in retail, I have not even been slightly rude to a retail assistant or staff member, because you are paid minimum wage. All you do is take crap off the people you work below and the people who you serve. It's not fair, it's not nice, it's not a great job. So I realized I don't want this for myself. I can't do this. I can't work every other day of the year for next to nothing with no gratitude. So I decided, right, I've got to go to college, I've got to get an education. That is where the future is for me. So I went to college, got an access course to get accepted into uni, and I wanted to be a museum curator. At the time I was volunteering in Liverpool World's Museum, and surprise, surprise, I loved it. I was so happy. I've always loved history. I've always loved working with people, and I was just really happy. This is what I wanted to do. And I got accepted into uni. I had to make a decision on what I was going to do. It was between getting a degree in the Holocaust studies in Manchester or a combined degree of history and psychology in Chester. I really wanted to do the Holocaust studies because it's something I've always had a very strong passion for, as I've mentioned now and again on my videos. But we did worry that it was too specific and possibly too emotionally draining to study for 3 years. So we decided that it would be a more broad and accepting degree to go to Chester. It'd be closer. And that was it. So I was going to go to Chester, and 2 weeks in, cutting a massive chunk out here because we're talking about my jobs, not my personal life. 2 weeks before uni started, I rang up and said, I'm opening a shop. And I opened a game shop, and I, surprise, surprise, loved it. And I have grown into a comic shop and a game shop, as I've loved comics and games just as much, and jewellery and Yu-Gi-Oh cards and everything else in between that falls under the line of geekdom I sell now. But in between that time as well, I've wanted to be a photographer, I've wanted to be a model agency owner, I wanted to be a dressmaker, I wanted to be a magician, a pathologist. I wanted to be a pathologist for a while. I have wanted to be some very varying and crazy things. I looked out into the career path I got. Half luck, half hard work, but it really is. It's just I've constantly been trying new things, different things, seeing what fits, seeing what doesn't fit. In my business years, I've tried a lot of different things on how to grow my business, and a lot hasn't worked. So I haven't done them, you know? It's not like I just try something and it works. It's so not that. But yeah, so that's a very much longer winded video than I thought it would be. So I'm really sorry if that was boring, guys, but now you kind of know from when I was 4 to now what I wanted to be throughout my life. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. What weird and crazy jobs have you wanted to be, especially when you're a kid? I had a very normal job when I was a kid. Every kid wanted to be a teacher. Funny story before I leave, I remember being in primary school and there was always that weird kid that would like talk to himself and eat his own earwax, you know? And there was this kid, and bless him, we were in assembly and the head teacher was going to people, I can't even remember why, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she was pointing at people randomly and you were hearing, teacher, fireman, doctor. And she pointed to him and he went, Power Ranger. I want to look back on that kid now and be his friend. That was the person we should have all been friends with, because he's probably awesome and possibly a Power Ranger now. So life regrets there. But yeah, so what did you want to be when you were a kid? Or, I don't know, 6 months ago. What do you want to be when you grow up? Thank you for liking and commenting on this video if you do, and if you haven't done it yet and you want to, please subscribe. It makes my day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!